Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a risk and stepping outside of the storage locker to take a look at the NECA Aliens Wave 6 Xenomorph from Alien Isolation. If you don't know, Alien Isolation is a video game, came out on PS4 and Xbox One. He plays the daughter of Ellen Ripley, Amanda Ripley, going through a space station trying to find out what happened to your mother and encountering the same horrible crap she did. And we're starting off with this game's version of the Xenomorph. And we're looking at it here, it seems to look very much like the big chap alien. There are some very interesting differences the designers put into this version. And we're going to take a look at what's changed and what stayed the same. The alien comes with a stand. This is the exact same stand that we got with the dog alien. And I don't remember if I covered it in that video, but stand is a little fragile. I had my dog alien one break right up here in the C clip. Granted, it's my fault. I tried to force it onto part of the dog alien that was much larger than this gap here. So buyer beware, be careful with it. I know I'm not the only one that broke theirs. The base is very similar to the standard NECA stands that they sell. It's about the same thickness, about the same width around. There's a clear plastic stand with this rod coming up and a very Tamashi stage looking piece. And then we have this static clip. What I found works best for me is just put it around the leg of the Xenomorph. So I'll really just put it down here on the lower section where it's skinnier and then kind of just let the alien slide into the stand. And then when the alien's leg gets thicker, it'll kind of catch and hold the alien in place. It's worked pretty well for me so far. I don't think it's too obvious or annoying when you have it on display. And with his crazy legs, you're going to need it. From the waist up, this alien really is just a big chap. The paint job on this figure is a little browner than the big chap. It's kind of a brown dry brush over top of everything. But we'll go over the details anyway. We have the large head with all the biomechanical details. We have the nice silver chromed out teeth. If you open the mouth, you can see the membrane is sculpted there on the side. If you open it too far, it kind of breaks up there. We do have the extendable tongue, jaws inside, silver teeth there as well, and then the kind of flesh-colored bit to the rest of it. We have the translucent dome over top, and you can see the alien's skull underneath. The big shoulder pauldrons, the kind of rib shape here going down the front. On the back here, we kind of have the headrest piece that comes out here, and then the large rubberized tubes. The spine going there. The arms continue that Gigerist detail. With all the kind of panels and lines going through them, we have the little elbow spike. Though the left arm on mine, both the elbow spike and the forearm here itself are a little warped. The figure is packaged with its arms crossed over its chest, and it seems like it put a little extra pressure on here. I can heat it up and straighten them both out. It's not a big deal at all, but just something to be wary of. It probably will show up a little warped. The hands are the standard big chap hands, the two thumbs on either side and the two sets of fingers. Around the waist, we have what I was referred to as the diaper. More biomechanical detail here, but it's a soft rubberized plastic, but it really doesn't look too different from what's above it, which is nice. I also think the legs themselves might be exactly the same as the big chap too, up to a point. So we have all the same biomechanical detail, more panels and everything going through here. I also did have some slight warpage with my legs as well. But then when we get down to where the foot would normally go on this figure, we get this extra back bent leg piece, another spike coming up here. And then those continue down into the unique foot for this alien. Reminds me a lot of the Alien Queen, actually, because it has a high heel spike. Then we have the kind of the webbed toes on it. It looks very nice, very unique. And there are no peg holes at the bottom of the feet on this alien, but I don't think you'd really be able to use them anyway, just because of the way the legs are shaped. The tail is also unique. It's similarly detailed to what we had before. We have the spine ridges going through it, but it's a very, very long tail, and then it ends in a very long, sharp blade there. This is all rubberized, so it's not actually sharp, but this is something we didn't really see in the Alien series until Alien 3, so it's kind of interesting to see it translated over to what is essentially the big chap. For articulation, it's the same as most Xenomorphs, pretty much. We have a hinged jaw that will open. The tongue, of course, will slide in and out. The head's on a ball joint. It'll look up. It'll look down. It'll turn side to side. It will tilt. If we pull out this back piece here, we can get the head to move up a bit further, giving it more of a crawling stance. Arms are on pin socket joints, so they will go forward, back, as well as out to the side. We have a swivel at the upper bicep. We have a hinge here at the elbow. We can also rotate the forearm using that joint, but it doesn't really do much for us. The hand, we can rotate, and then it has a hinge, so we can go in and out with it. The mid-torso, we have a ball joint, so we'll go backwards, forwards, side to side, as well as tilt. Legs, pin socket joints, so they'll push up on that rubberized diaper, but they'll go forward, really far back, out to the side a great amount. It'll also swivel up there at the hip. We have a double jointed knee up here, which works really nicely. Lets the alien bend its leg really far. You do have to play with how the joints kind of line up when you get it bent so that it gets the biggest range of motion possible. Down here, where the foot would normally go, we get the extra back bent knee, and that's on a hinge, and it will also rotate. And then the foot itself is also on a hinge, so we'll go forward and back, as well as rotate, which can kind of be used as a pseudo ankle pivot, along with this joint up here. And then the tail is on a bendy wire, so you can bend it all around. Mine is pretty stiff on this figure, and up here where it gets close to the figure, it feels like they didn't continue the bendy wire in there as well. Might just be mine. But also, this alien seemed to drag its tail around quite a bit, so I don't really see that as being too much of a downside. And overall, there's not a ton to talk about on this figure because most of it we've seen before. It's really just those extra extensions to the legs and the new tail that are super exciting, but I really dig this figure. Being a slight retool of the big chap, I was kind of wondering if I'd like him. Not knowing he came with the stand, I was kind of wondering if he would stand at all. And on both counts, I was pleasantly surprised. This figure gets a very solid recommend. I know there's probably people out there who are only planning on collecting aliens from the movies, or maybe even just from the movies they like, but Alien Isolation, I think, is a very terrifying game that I feel fits in well with the Alien universe. I think the people who made it had great reverence for the series, and I'm happy to get this version of the Xenomorph. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. Alien Week continues next, because in space, no one can hear you review action figures.